The conversation around Devin Haney has exploded once again, especially now that he has stepped into the welterweight division and walked away victorious against Brian Norman Jr. the moment the scorecards were read and Haney was crowned a three-division champion. A familiar question rose from his fanbase like smoke after a heavyweight collision. People wanted to know whether this win suddenly pushed Haney ahead of Gervonta Davis in terms of legacy, accomplishment, and importance to the sport. It was a question asked loudly, confidently, and repeatedly, as if claiming it enough times might make it true. But even the way the question is framed tells its own story. No one asks whether Gervonta Davis has surpassed Devin Haney. No one wonders if Tank needs to beat someone in order to catch up. These conversations only flow in one direction, coming from one side, creating the impression that Haney's supporters are determined to measure him against a fighter whose shadow reaches far beyond simple belts and accolades. And that imbalance, that asymmetry, hints at the answer before the debate even begins. Still, the subject deserves a careful and honest breakdown. Haney's achievement this past weekend is undeniable. He entered the 147-pound division with confidence, discipline, and a fresh hunger to carve out his place among the elite. Taking on Brian Norman Jr., a former champion, was no small undertaking. Haney fought efficiently, with control and poise, securing a unanimous decision win that gave him yet another piece of history. Becoming an undisputed champion at lightweight, grabbing belts at 140, and now adding a new title at welterweight means Haney has accomplished something most fighters only dream about. His undefeated record, his technical sharpness, his willingness to step into different divisions all speak to a fighter who has worked to build a career marked by consistency and ambition. These are meaningful achievements, the kind that look impressive on paper and add weight to his growing legacy. But career accomplishments are not just a checklist of belts collected across divisions, and they are certainly not all equal in value. The sport has always separated achievements by significance, by quality, by the impact they leave behind. That brings us to Gervonta Davis, a fighter who has done something very different but equally important. Tank may not have been undisputed in any division, and some debate his claim to certain titles, but his influence cannot be measured only by the belts he has earned. He is the face of American boxing, the biggest draw among active U.S. fighters, a magnetic presence capable of filling arenas and commanding massive pay-per-view numbers. His knockouts circulate across social media like wildfire. His fights, no matter the opponent, feel like cultural moments. He has become one of the few fighters whose name alone is enough to sell out a venue. That is its own kind of accomplishment, a level of influence that extends beyond belts and resumes. In the ring, Tank's achievements also hold weight. He has won titles in multiple divisions. He beat Mario Barrios. He beat Rolly Romero. He fought through challenges, overcame adversity, and delivered brutal stoppages that travel around the world within minutes. Even if some dismiss one of his belts, even if critics argue about his level of competition, the fact remains that Tank has beaten fighters who are now sitting at the championship table in Haney's new division. Meanwhile, Haney's biggest wins are often accompanied by asterisks in the eyes of fans and analysts. His win over Regis Prograis came against a fighter many believe was past his prime. His resume includes solid names, but not many wins that shook the sport or redefined its hierarchy. Even his recent victory over Brian Norman Jr. comes with caveats, because Norman was still green compared to the division's elite. And then there is the Ryan Garcia situation. Officially erased, unofficially remembered. Fans saw the fight. They watched the way it ended. They continue to debate it, no matter how the commission handled the aftermath. That result hovers over discussions of Haney's greatness because people don't forget what they witness. Meanwhile, Tank Davis stepped into the ring with Ryan Garcia when Ryan was still undefeated and full of hype. Tank stopped him clean and without argument. That's what defining wins look like. When comparing two fighters, people often get caught up in championships, accolades, the shiny list of accomplishments that looks impressive but doesn't tell the whole story. Careers are judged by impact, by the legacy they carve into the sport, by the fighters they've beaten, and by how the world reacts when they step into or out of the ring. And on that scale, Tank stands in a different category. When Gervonta Davis pulled out of a fight with Jake Paul, the immediate names considered as replacements were Terence Crawford and Anthony Joshua, two of the biggest stars in the sport. Devin Haney's name didn't even enter the conversation. Not because he isn't talented, not because he isn't accomplished, but because he doesn't command that kind of presence. Not yet. Haney has built an excellent career and deserves respect. But Tank has built something that crosses into culture, into the atmosphere of boxing itself. The question isn't whether Tank needs to catch Haney. It's whether any fighter of this generation outside of Canelo Alvarez has created the kind of anticipation, electricity, and demand that Tank produces. Fighters like Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, and even Ryan Garcia are trying to get to that level. They are chasing the spotlight Tank carries naturally. That's why the comparison feels premature. Not inaccurate, not insulting, just early. Devin Haney is doing big things. He is building a strong resume, collecting titles, and stepping into challenges many fighters avoid. But Tank's resume is strengthened not simply by the belts he has held but by the names he has beaten and the way he has done it. When you step back and look at the total picture, Haney is still climbing the mountain that Tank has already built his home on. Their careers run alongside each other, but one casts a longer shadow at this point in time. As the sport evolves and new matchups emerge, the boxing world will continue to debate this question after every new fight, every new belt, every new headline. That is part of what makes boxing captivating. But for now, based on the weight of accomplishments, the quality of victories, and the undeniable impact each fighter has had on the sport, the answer remains clear. Devin Haney is great, but he has not surpassed Gervonta Davis. Not yet. Before you click away, tell us what you think. Has Devin Haney closed the gap, or is Tank Davis still far ahead in terms of legacy and star power? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let the debate continue. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Your support helps keep this content alive.